Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 6550 Southeast Renfield Street here in Hillsboro. We're located at the front of the house. We're checking the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water's running. We're going to zero out at the base of the cleanout. On the note of the cleanout, it's in a very, very unusual location. It's about 20 feet out from the front of the house here. Lines up almost perfectly with the right side edge of the door frame. Anyway, I've spent the trickiness of this is the cap is upside down, which made it even less obvious it was here. So it's one of those things I would take note of, and typically speaking, cleanouts are about 16 inches outside the foundation wall of a home. Just swapped over to PVC pipe there. We do have some settling, which we'll take a look at when the line drains out at the end. Got some more bellying going on here too. Alright, and here's our main connection. We're going to let the line drain out here for a minute while we go locate the camera head. We'll pull back in here in just a minute and take a better look at everything. We've got some settling stuff to take a look at. I located the camera head successfully. Line terminates out on Renfield. Just a tiny little bit of water still trickling off here. Line's just about done though. That right there is on the... I'm going to do a toilet flush really quick to see if that's something that busted loose. Right now my camera is kind of situated sideways, so that is completely up on the sidewall of the line. I cannot figure out what that is or how something that large would have stuck to the sidewall of the pipe. I'm a little concerned that could potentially be damaged. There's not a lot of items that large that can get stuck to the pipe wall like that. Got a flush coming down the line right now. If you see where the flow line is there, I mean, it's not impossible for debris to get up to that spot. My concern is you could have damage to the sidewall of the sewer line there with the ground exposed. It's really hard to say. I'm trying to get my camera, part of my camera, to run into the darn thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a closer look at this at home under better lighting without a light glare on my screen. You can see when that toilet flush came through there. I'm just trying to understand how something could have got that high up on the sidewall and stayed put without something pre-existing being there. And I'm not saying it couldn't just simply be debris. It's just after doing 25,000 sewer scopes, the amount of times I've seen something that large debris-wise get hung up on the pipe wall like that and stay put, is pretty rare and uncommon. I'm also going to go back and review the start of the video to see if we ran into that thing as we were making our way out. In the event somehow my camera picked some debris up on its way and somehow pushed it up there on the sidewall. And the line is so incredibly clean. It has the appearance of a line that's been drain cleaned. It's hard to say that with certainty, but it is like, it's impeccably clean. And you do have a belly here in the line. The only thing I could come up with is my camera somehow pushed something out of there. It's a little unusual when you have a line this spotless clean and then some random item like that large and gnarly just sitting there on the sidewall when you have an otherwise just spotless clean sewer line. This is one where I'm going to recommend some cleaning on the line. I'm going to locate that really quick just to see where it's at. It's really hard to tell. I'll take a better look in good lighting at home where I don't have any glare on my screen to see if I can discern anything there that's hard to see right now. Right now we're right in the bark dust curb strip just to the right of the driveway. I'm getting about 6 foot 8 inches deep. Anyway, that's a spot I'm going to recommend cleaning on unless I can see otherwise in better lighting that it's just simply debris. You're at 6 foot 8 inches deep there. Anyway, we'll come back and take a look at the belly here. So the belly dissipates out at about 8 feet. And you've got, at its worst point, you've got about 1 inch of water. That thing runs somewhere, it's not a terribly long belly. It's from about 6 to 8 feet approximately. Actually, let's back up slightly and see. Yeah, it's closer to about 5 to 8 feet. At its worst point, it's holding 1 inch of water. The only thing that makes me a little bit nervous about this property here is I'm parked right next to a tree stump. I can tell the roots have reached out a ways and done their darndest to the sidewalk, and I don't know. It's one of those, especially with the line being as clean as it is. I'm hoping that's just a belly there. That stuff at the bottom of the pipe right there is just grass. Where the clean out's situated, it's right in the middle of the lawn. Anyway, that belly on its own there, when you take into account how far out from the home we are, is not generally one I would recommend repairs on. Not that a belly like that can't theoretically lead to problems. In total, you're probably, in fact, I'll be able to tell you right now exactly. That's about 25 to 28 feet out from the house there, all said and done. Which is a decent distance. And this right here is right where the line exits the house at the foundation wall. Well, at the top of the line right now, you do have debris there. And this belly here is closer proximity to the home, where it stands a little better chance to potentially cause issues. This one runs for about 16 feet. I'll pull back to the start of it here. Anyway, this is what, when you get a line this clean, though, it's what makes it is makes it tricky. Generally speaking, both these bellies are not within the size where I would generally start recommending repairs on them. Again, not that they couldn't theoretically lead to something. Even scoping from the roof vent out to this point to try and locate this clean out. The whole pipe going through the interior of the home is spotless clean. But you do have a skiff there at the top of the line. The flow line is clean. I don't know if this has been jetted at some point. This is the part that makes me a little bit nervous about these spots here. If you see that the debris at the top of the line there, that's an indication a blockage has occurred in the past. Did it full on back up all the way through the entire home? It doesn't appear so. It looks like whatever occurred busted loose right here. But I am seeing that kind of blockage evidence. So I can tell something has occurred here in the past. The hard part is knowing what circumstances happened. You know, if it was under proper usage or if something improper was going down the line. So it looks like, from what I can tell here, and it's really hard to tell when you're inside the crawl space, if the line actually exits out from underneath the doorway, and that's kind of how this is looking now, where I'm locating that, because I cannot get my locator directly on top of that spot. It looks like we're back inside the home. Alright, I'm not going to put paint down here because of where this is at. Because of the blockage evidence in the line, I can clearly see something has occurred here in the past. It also looks like the concrete in front of the doorway was corrected at some point. I'm not sure why. Anyway, being that I've got blockage evidence there, it's one that I'm going to recommend a repair on. And we've got a similar skiff hitting the top of the pipe throughout a lot of the line. This other belly out here, it's entirely possible it's also caused a blockage too in the past. The one by the doorway there makes me a little bit more nervous. It doesn't have the same depth of water. It's just closer proximity. So if a blockage does occur, you have less chance for leeway for pipe to fill up to create head pressure and break things loose. I wish I knew if this had been cleaned preemptively before the sale. That's what makes it tricky. It is so blasted clean that we lose a lot of debris evidence. And that's stuff I like to look at. Anyway, recommending a cleaning there just to make sure there's not a hole on the other side of it. I'll go back and review the video, watch for the report. I may rescind that recommendation if I go back and review the video and see that my camera ran into that thing on the way out. This belly here, with the kind of vertical dive you have preceding it, you can see how hard we're dropping right there. It is just a straight vertical dive down. You have a lot of gravity working in your favor. So we're going from, we're just about, a foot into the line there. That's doing almost a straight vertical drop there for 5 feet. So all that put together, that belly there is not one I'm going to recommend a repair on. In my opinion, it's too far from the home to need that. That's generally speaking the kind of belly I'm more concerned about under abusive scenarios. The belly that's closer into the home here, I can see a lot clearer evidence of blockages occurring, but the line goes straight underneath the doorway there. It's really hard to tell that from inside the crawl space area. You're about 2 foot 9 inches deep approximately at that location. I do pick up the start of the belly just on the outside of the home, and then it looks like the belly extends back into the home, into the crawl space area. So anyway, if repairs are not done, from what I can tell right now, everything appears intact. Being that the line is as clean as it is, it's a little harder to say if anything's been erased here. So if repairs do not get done, I would recommend re-scoping at the 1 year mark. And that is to look for any changes or anything, and or check for buildup in the line that may require maintenance cleaning. Otherwise, the rest of the line here, aside from a little bit of a question mark there at about 22, 24 feet out, I'll go back and review and notate that on the report. But I am going to recommend cleaning most likely on that spot just to make sure there's not damage to the line there. That it looks a little bit similar to when a hole gets punched through the side of a pipe, often due to roots, and you get dirt protruding in through the sidewall. But we shall see. I may rescind that. You just won't see a cleaning recommendation on the report if that's the case. Otherwise, aside from those 3 areas there I just talked about, the rest of the line here all appears in good shape, intact, and has good flow. And overall, as the line currently sits, it is a functioning sewer line. I don't use the word failure unless a line is blocked and backing up. Otherwise, it's functioning. It is functioning. It is draining slower than ideal because of the standing water. It's that slower drain that can potentially lead to issues, especially under abusive scenarios where lots of balled up toilet paper is going down the line, wipes, paper towels, cooking oil, grease, things like that. Stuff that does not disintegrate properly.